This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everyone. Good to see everybody on this great Saturday morning. Welcome to our Saturday group for this month. Um, Hopefully, everyone is doing well, um, and hopefully we get to share our updates with each other, and any questions or concerns, you can address those during this meeting. Um, Dr. Messiah was on earlier this month, so hopefully he was able to answer a lot of questions and kind of detail the direction of how RMC will be uh, attacked and dealt with in the future, and any upcoming treatment plans and stuff like that. So hopefully uh, you all got your questions answered. Um, if not, please go back and uh, review that meeting group. Um, so we're gonna get this thing rolling. Um, Brian, you have any updates or any questions or concerns for the group that you would like to share?
No updates for me really. I am getting my scans at the beginning of August, like August 8th, I think, or 9th. I think we'll be in the same time, Andre.
Yep, same time. I get my scan on like the 8th, and I meet Dr. Masal the next day on the 9th.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And also think Rick is gonna be in town as well. So maybe
Oh,
we
really?
can, yeah,
Okay.
so maybe we can get up and set something up where we can,
Okay.
fellowship with each other. Um, Julia and Ryan, do y'all have an update for the group or any questions or concerns?
Ron, you're on mute.
Okay, I'll give you a quick update. We're going into our third week here in Houston. Um, Julia's been in radiation for 2 weeks. She's got 10 days under her belt. 5 more days to go. Um, they were going after two tumors in her right lung. One was rather large, and they went after that one first, and now they're working on the second one. The second one is more near the front of a lung, a little closer to the center of her chest. Uh, and the other one was pressing up against her rib cage. Um, Seems like the pain from the big one up against her rib cage is getting smaller. Um, it, it was broken up pretty good, and we witnessed some of the residuals as she was coughing, and now it's the same process with the second one. That's more in the center of the chest. Um, as you know, the pain caused by the tumors is pretty terrific, and it never fails. The pain attacks occur when you're in your deepest sleep in the middle of the night, and it wakes you up, and you have to deal with it with whatever tools that you have at your disposal. Um, Appetite is pretty poor. Although this morning, I think Julia was trying to impress me. She appeared to be more hungry today than any other days. So that's encouraging. We'll see how the day goes on. Um, that's pretty much it. Is there anything else you want to add, Julia? Okay. She got mad at me a couple of times, but that's all right. Um, she get mad. I can get mad too.
Is Ron is Dr. Tang, is he the one that is administering the it's not Dr. Tang?
No, he is not. And
Okay.
that's a whole different story that I can tell you about offline.
Okay.
Um, it's Osama Mohammed. And I can give you more details offline about that relationship. We were anticipating Dr. Tang, and in fact, when we got the phone call to hurry up and come to Houston, it was because Dr. Tang wanted to see us before he went on vacation the following week.
Mm,
We never got to see Dr. Tang. But I'm glad that they made it an urgent visit because, as every day tumors grow.
mm.
So the faster we got her in the radiation, uh, the better to stop the growth of those two tumors.
I got one other question. Is she doing radiation in conjunction with chemo, or is it just
No,
radiation? Just
just
radiation.
radiation. Uh, Chemo will follow. That's the plan according to Dr. Masul.
Okay.
Uh, Dr. Masul assured us of the expertise of the radiologist, Dr. Osama um, Mohammed, and which kind of eliminated some of our apprehension.
Okay. Brian, did you do radiation in conjunction with chemo, or you just did the radiation?
I just did the radiation. I did radiation right after I had surgery that one time. So
Hmm.
like in order to give my body a break, they saw that as an opportunity to give me radiation while I was off the chemo. So
Okay.
yeah, I don't know if they do both at the same time. I don't know if your body can take it, but I don't. Maybe you can. I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, I know in my case, so I would do radiation every day, and then every 3 weeks during I guess while I was getting radiation during that time, I also got the chemo, like
Okay.
also. So I was just curious to see, how the treatment plans and stuff work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of
Brian,
glad that it's just radiation. I think the radiation plus chemo right now would be a bit too much.
Too much.
Yep.
I was on um, immunother- immunotherapy, but they took me off of that trial because there was new growth. And so Dr. Masul said that um, immunotherapy is still in my system and it's still working, and that we're going to resume SASE when I get done with the radiation.
Okay, got you. Okay. Well, thanks for the update, Julia and Ron. As always, you're in our prayers. Um, just continue to stay positive and continue to push through this thing or whatever. You definitely can come out on the other end. So thanks for the update.
Brian, I had a question for you. When you said you had the surgery, was that to remove your kidney?
No, so basically what happened to me is that I went into the hospital for, I guess I had a reaction to the trial drug that I was on because I guess the dosage was too high. But when I was in the hospital, they saw something inside, like inside my abdomen, and they thought it was like some kind of blockage, so they rushed me into surgery. And then once they got inside, they figured out that I was okay. So it was pretty much surgery for nothing. But since
Wow.
like, they told me pretty much like, hey, if we don't fix this, you could die. So I'm like, all right, well, I don't really have another choice, so might as well just go inside and it was unnecessary, but I'd rather know or err on the side of caution than not. So, but since I was technically a surgery, I couldn't like I still had to do all the surgery protocols in terms of recovery, not lifting anything and doing all that other stuff. So, but yeah, so since I was off of chemo due to that surgery, they said, okay, well, it's a good time for you to do like radiation. So,
Thank you.
I didn't know think about that as an option, like after surgery, like break with chemo, but radiation, that's interesting.
yeah, I think because I guess your body's still trying to recover, that giving you chemo after like a surgery would be, I guess, not ideal.
Yeah, but I guess maybe the radiation director, depending where it is, I guess maybe that's the reason to be able to do that.
Yeah, Gregory, he's had radiation, but he's never really had it in conjunction with chemo. When he's getting the radiation, he didn't have the chemo. He resumed right after, though, but it wasn't at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. Aisha, since you already in here, let's hear the update on Gurgi there.
Okay, so Gregory he's doing good. We're in a good place, thank God. Uh,
Good, good.
a really good thing, which was kind of it was good, but it was kind of weird, is that we had our oxygen equipment picked up. So it's been over a year since he got it, and I would say it's been probably about a year also. He got it maybe in like March, April of last year, and he really stopped using it, I would say maybe around June, July. So he hasn't been really using it, and they pulled the plug and they said, okay, it's time to pick it up. So um, got a little bit more space in the apartment, which is great, but uh, that uh, that having it there just in case, brings another bit of feelings. But I'm trying to look at the positive of it, and it is a great news that he hasn't needed it and they picked it up. So that crutch is not there any longer. He's been decreased on his pain meds, which is also a good thing because he hasn't really been in any pain. Um, and he's been pushing himself where the other day, he actually walked without his walker. And that was a big thing. So he is trying to build up his stamina and push himself. His recovery, though, on days like that, he's usually pretty much taking it easy about a day after, the next day. Um, but he's up and he's been active and he hasn't been in any pain. We have some scans for his spine the first week, no, the first full week in August. I don't know when he'll have any other scans as of yet. What Dr. Chenier is basically saying is that, uh, his this treatment is working, so we're going to continue with it. He has had ups and downs with the treatment as far as the amount, and he's oh, he's telling me to be quiet because he's asleep. Give me one moment. So he's
He's feeling better then.
yeah, exactly. He's like, could you quiet down, please? But so
Tell
I'm
him I
gonna
said,
try.
"Girl, we need to see him."
You don't even. He is laid out right now, so that's why the camera off. But he that Dr. Tania said that the treatment is working. We know that it's working in the respect of how he's been feeling and the no pain. So those are all good things. I don't know when we're gonna have an actual scan. I'm anticipating it'll probably be in August or September, late August, sometime in September as far as a staging scan. But based upon how he's been feeling, and he's doing good. He's gaining weight. That was a concern of mine before because his appetite wasn't the best. So he started losing weight right before he had the brain surgery and then afterwards. So yeah, so far things are doing good. We're in a good space, and I'm thankful for that. Thankful, very thankful. But yeah.
Um, that's great. I'm glad Gregory is doing good and feeling better. And um, as always, we're gonna keep Gregory in our prayers. Tell him to stay positive and
I will.
stay encouraged. We all definitely rooting for Gregory.
Yes, thank you. I
So.
appreciate that. And y'all know we've had ups and we've had downs. So we've
Mhm.
had times in which it's been rough. But I just
Mhm.
try and celebrate the positive and enjoy the good times when we're at it. So that's where we're at, and I'm thankful.
Good. Good. Well, thanks. Thanks for the update, Aisha. Hopefully, I get to see you guys when I'm out there in Houston. And we have time to figure something out. Hopefully.
Yes, hopefully.
Okay. Pam, would you like to give us an update, or you got any questions or concerns?
Yeah, I just no, I'm actually doing okay. I just finished chemo about 4 weeks ago, and I had my 2 rounds of radiation with chemo, and I finished that in April. So I go back the second week of September for scans, and we'll see how everything's going. But I'm doing okay.
Good. Good. So you're doing radiation in conjunction with the chemo?
I've done that twice, and then I finished. So yeah, I finished. Yes, 2 times. Um, Yeah, they were treating lymph nodes each time that I had mine.
Okay. Okay. So are you in Houston? Are you back home?
I'm back home. I've been home for, I actually did go back in June for follow up, and so it looked like the lymph nodes had responded well. And so I go back, um, yeah, the second week for just for surveillance, the second week of September.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you. Thanks for sharing, giving us an update. We're gonna keep you in our prayers. Stay positive. Keep pushing forward. So thank you. Heather, would you like to give us an update? You have any questions or concerns, or
Yeah, so I am back home. Can you guys hear me okay?
we can?
Okay. I'm back home in Charlotte now. I was in Houston the week of June 14th and I had radiation to a lung nodule. Um, and I had my last chemo May 2nd. So I'm done with chemo and I finished my last radiation. They tell me they think that I'm in remission, but I'm scared to say that until I get my PET scan in August. But um, I'm believing that I'm in remission, so I
That's
feel
right.
great. I've gotten like all of my feeling back in my fingers. The neuropathy's going away. I've still got some in my feet, But overall, I feel great. I'm getting my energy back. I'm working again, so I'm really excited.
Good, good.
Amen.
That is wonderful news.
What
How's
up,
uh how,
the
how's
baby?
the baby doing?
Look at her.
She's doing great. She's sitting right here eating a piece of pizza.
Well, I hate to step in, but some of the people don't. I know Brady is new on the call and may not know just a brief history of how you and the baby, how all of that came into existence, and that she's here today because of Dr. Masal. You may want to just share that little piece of your story.
Yeah, of course. Nice to meet you, Brady. I'm Heather. I was diagnosed with RMC, or I was diagnosed with cancer in January of 2023. We thought it was renal cell carcinoma. When I went in to have my kidney removed, we found out that I was pregnant. My team went ahead and removed my right kidney, and then we found out it was RMC. All my doctors here in Charlotte told me that I needed to abort my baby if I wanted to have treatment. But I found Dr. Massell in Houston, and he and his wife came up with a plan to treat me while I was pregnant. So I had chemo while I was pregnant, and my baby was born September of last year. So she's almost a year old now. And then I have also undergone 6 weeks of radiation to some lymph nodes in my stomach in Houston, and I've had radiation to my lungs as well. And I'm hoping I'm in remission now. But yeah, my baby's here. She's almost a year old, and she's doing great. And I'm just really happy and thankful we met Dr. Massell, because if we hadn't, things would have been a lot different for us. So we're very, very blessed.
Thanks for
Thank
sharing. Appreciate it. That's amazing.
amazing amazing story, Heather. Definitely gonna keep you guys in our prayers as always. Stay positive and so inspiring to hear your story. About you and your baby. That's an amazing story. Um, are you coming out to Houston for your scan, or are you getting your scans in North Carolina?
No, I'm coming back to Houston. We fly back August. My husband and I fly back August 21st. So they only have me scheduled for a PET scan. So we'll get the PET scan the 22nd, and then meet with Dr. Massell the 23rd, and fly back home, and then I'll be back again in November. So he wants to keep all of my scans in Houston, and I'm fine with that. I mean, I'll travel back there the rest of my life. I don't care, just as long as everything stays good.
That's right. I traveled back myself, so I know that's right. Um, thank you once again for sharing your story. Um, I see we do have some new people on the call, so I just want to introduce myself. My name is Andre. I was diagnosed with RMC back in 2019. I got my first clear scan in 2020, so I've been in remission ever since then. Um, so I am one of the moderators for this group. Also, Carissa is one of the moderators as well. So I just want to welcome you to the group. I know we got started, and everybody's kind of sharing their updates. This, what we do. We are family. We share stories. We answer questions. We share, our shared experiences throughout all our journeys from different aspects. Whether we're a patient or a caregiver, or even the ones who have lost loved ones as well can give their perspective as well. So um, welcome to the group. This is our family. Miss Ritchie is the founder, and the leader, of the Chris Johnson Foundation. So she kind of keep us, connected, keep this street connected. So welcome. Brady, do you want to share your connection with RMC, how you're associated with RMC, or any questions or updates
Yeah,
you
for
have?
sure. Um, I was diagnosed with RMC back in 2020, uh, April 1st of 2020, and since then I have had a right complete nephrectomy. Um, I've had lung surgeries to remove nodules. I have had 30 something treatments of chemo and 38 something radiation treatments, and just got my scan results, you know, on Monday of this past week, and found out that my left kidney has a 5 point something centimeter mass in it, and got some new nodule growth in the lungs, and actually had an MRI this morning of my brain due to some headaches and nausea, vomiting, and stuff like that. It just kind of popped up out of nowhere, and yeah, that's where I'm at. Just kind of waiting on what's next, and I'll be out at Duke in a couple of days here to get some second opinions there, and hopefully connect my doctor there with Dr. Masal.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. And I just, want to encourage you to, stay positive. Uh, during this time, we looking forward to, hearing, your testimony in the future of, how you beat this thing. So, um, thank you for sharing. If you have any questions, throughout the group or time, please feel free to, share with us. So, thank you. Um,
Brady, can I ask you where you're from? I heard that you were going to Duke.
Yeah, so I live in Virginia. Um, Actually, kind of a neat story. For the first couple years of my treatment, my doctor here in Virginia, actually in Lynchburg, Virginia, was communicating and working with doctors and in Texas to basically the Texas doctors were coming up with all my cocktails and prescriptions and stuff like that as far as my treatment. And so the hospital where I've been at has just had some overturn lately. So I've actually gone through 4 different doctors in the last year, and just ready for a second opinion and some new hands on the situation.
Lynchburg. My brother, well, he doesn't live there anymore, but he travels there a lot because he used to live in Lynchburg.
Okay. All right.
Brady, will your insurance allow you to come to MD Anderson?
That's another piece of the puzzle here. Well, I was diagnosed in 2020. I went back to work in 2022. I've been gainfully employed since 2022, and I had Medicare from 2020 to 2022, and then that fell off. But what fell off, I wasn't really in a whole lot of intense treatment or anything like that, so I wasn't, too concerned with it. Obviously, I had insurance through my company. Um, Short answer, no. Short answer, that would be a whole lot of out of pocket. And right now, with me potentially stepping back from work again, um, coming to Texas, it would obviously be my ideal scenario. Just not sure quite how to make that work yet.
Okay. Well, just so you know that I'm looking at Daniel. They treated his son Nico from afar in Colombia. So don't give up hope. They can do quite a few things from afar. So there is hope.
Thank you.
that's right.
And it's good to see you.
Yes, ma'am. Good to see you too.
Thank you.
Um, while we're transitioning over, Daniel, do you want to share just your son's Nico story real quickly and give us an update on your son?
Okay, Andre, do you listen me correctly?
Yes,
Hello?
yes.
Okay. It's a pleasure again to see you, Clarissa, Richie, of course, Brian and Andre, and the other who are here in this meeting. For a long time, we were not in contact with you. Nico is okay. He's studying, and this year he will finish his baccalaureate, and maybe he will take some few months to relax and to think what he want to study in the university, or maybe travel to USA or Canada for learn English or go to England. My son, for the people who don't know his history, it was diagnosed in 2020, uh, renal medullary carcinoma, and now with 12 years old. And now, well, he is 16 years old, and I came today to say hello, to say you again. We are in Medellin. It was in the pandemic time, so it was very difficult. All we continues to have control each 4 months, more or less. In the last control, we they saw small nodules in the lung, and we are doing again, but they are very small. And Dr. Masawel said, take it easy, control in 3 weeks, do it again, and in the next week we will have, but there are not nodules bigger than 1 centimeter. So maybe are all nodules, in sometimes they see, sometimes they don't see in the control, but we can say he made a normal life like a teenager of 16 years old. So for the rest of the group, the pleasure to see you again, and all the best energy for all. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, giving us the update, Daniel. Um, Glad that your son is doing well. So thank you for the update. Um, Lakeisha, would you like to share your connection with RMC or association with RMC with the group?
Sure. Hello, everyone. Hope you guys are having a decent day. My name is Lakeisha Merriweather, and my daughter, who is 24 years old, she just was diagnosed with stage 4 renal medullary carcinoma in May. Um, so she has now started chemo. She's done 2 chemo sessions. Her doctor had I was looking up places and looking for support, just trying to find more about this. It was she was diagnosed with cancer.
Did Lakeisha cut out?
Yeah, I don't see
Yes,
her.
I can't hear her.
Lakeisha, can you hear us? Lakeisha, can you hear us?
Maybe put something in the chat.
Yeah, I'm chatting right now. Oh, Lakeisha, can you hear us now? I see her moving, but I don't hear anything.
Yeah, that's what
Same.
I see it too.
We can't hear you.
Maybe she's moving to another location. You're muted if you can hear us, Lakeisha.
Okay, while Lakeisha work on her audio, um
I did want to share something with Brady. So Brady, I'm
go ahead.
Aisha, and I'm my son's mother. His name is Gregory. Everybody call him Greg. He's 23 years old, and he was diagnosed with RMC. Seems like it was so long ago. Cancer in September of 2022, and it was officially diagnosed in October 2023 with RMC. Um, he's been on a lot of different cocktails of chemotherapy. Uh, I, he's had he was stage 4, and it was in 4 different places: lungs, liver, kidney, lymph nodes. And we're from New York, and we got treatment there initially, and which worked, and he was responding for a couple of months, and then in January things started growing. So by February we came to MD Anderson. Thankfully, we were able to get to MD Anderson, and the doctor that we have is Dr. Tanier, but Dr. Masal and their entire team, they work with one another. Since being here, he's had several different changes with treatment, and the 4 areas that we came here for that we initially had um, are well. They were responding, and they were stable for quite some time. And then he started experiencing some other things with his walking, with pain, and it. We found out that it metastasized to his spine, one part of his spine, his lower spine, right before Thanksgiving of last year. And then it he had radiation, and it did great because at one point he wasn't able to even walk. He was like we had to wheel him around a lot. His mobility was affected a lot. And he had the radiation. The radiation did well. And then we found out in January that it had moved up his spine. So it was now in the upper part of his spine. Um, And when you have radiation, I guess they can't do radiation like so soon afterwards because it's even though you stop with the radiation, it's still working in your body.
Yep.
So he they didn't do the radiation immediately, and then he started experiencing uh, no appetite, headache, nausea. And I say that to you because it did metastasize to his brain. And he was diagnosed. He had brain surgery literally 2 days before his 23rd birthday. He had it on March 28th of this year, and he had the brain surgery. They resected the tumor, and there were some other spots where he had to have radiation. And once they resected the tumor, they got the tumor completely, and they did the radiation. His scans thereafter were completely clear. So I want to encourage you to say that remain positive, even though it had spread for Gregory and it moved to his brain. Like I don't know, people were looking at me like I was crazy because I put my faith in God and I just knew everything was gonna be fine. And even before we were there, like he had a headache, and then by the next morning I was like, it didn't go away, we're calling. And we called, and it was like, go to the emergency room. And we're in the emergency room, and I'm packing like before to go there, and he's like, Mom, we're gonna be home. And I'm like, no, I just had a feeling that we wasn't. So when we're in the ER and they tell us that he has a tumor in his brain, it was like, okay, so what we doing about it? And within 24 hours, he had, he wound up having the surgery, and it was a very long surgery. He don't realize it, but it was like a 9-hour surgery from when they took him and when I saw him again. But the surgery went well, and like I said, he got the radiation afterwards. Radiation is for us has been the easiest part of everything. So He did receive the radiation, and they radiated the area in which they removed the tumor, and they also radiated the other spots that they saw. They saw about four other spots. And once we had the scan thereafter, everything was completely clear. So he no longer has any cancer in his brain, and he's very cognitive. It was in his cerebellum, which is the back of his brain, and the reason why he was experiencing the nausea and the loss of appetite was because the tumor was pressing on the space in your brain where your spine is, where the fluid drips into your spine. So it was building up pressure, and that was what the headaches were.
Yeah.
So it was a very emergency. Like it was very, he had to get it real quick, but he did it and he's fine. Like he has a scar, but once his hair grows back, he'll be fine. And I just want to encourage you. Like it has people was looking at me like I was crazy because I knew everything was gonna be okay, and I just want you to remain encouraged. And there's a lot of people on this call who've been through similar situations, maybe not with the brain, but they've been through radiation, they've been through things, and you've been through this already. And you had it. So you're going to continue to go through this and you're going to beat this. And I just want you to be encouraged that it's not as bad as you think it is, and it's ups and downs with this, as you know. But just because it went to your brain don't mean nothing. My son is smart. He's cognitive. He's able to walk. He ain't got no nausea. He's gained some weight back. Like he's good, and you're gonna do
Yes.
what you need to do so that you be good. Okay, so don't be
Absolutely.
discouraged. Please remain
No, yes.
positive.
I
Please.
do have a thank you for that encouragement, and I do have a question for you just in regards
Yeah.
to that treatment that your son had, that Gregory had. Um, I also had my cancer had metastasized to my iliac crest, and was causing all kinds of issues with walking and whatnot. And when I had that radiated, I think I had 14 rounds of radiation on that, or 12 rounds of radiation on the hip. But after that had happened, because the cancer was in both the iliac muscle as well as the bone, and probably for about a month, like, or so a week after treatment, most of the pain and soreness was gone, and then for about a month it was good, no pain, no discomfort, nothing really going on in that hip. And recently, that hip has become a mess.
Mhm.
uh, Worse pain than it was before we had, radiated it. And so my doctor's suggesting that, or my radiologist is suggesting that that's just residual from the treatment. Is that something you've experienced also, that Gregory experienced also?
So he has not experienced that. When after he got the radiation on his lower part of his spine, um, it started to subside, and he wasn't receiving any pain. When it did metastasize up, he was experiencing some pain.
Yeah.
And then after he got the radiation there, and which he did after the brain surgery, he then did the radiation on the upper part. Um, Once they did the radiation, like everything was just better for him. So that's why I say that it was the best. But he hasn't experienced any pain from either of the places that they radiated since.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But like I said, you see if you can get in contact with Dr. Masal or Dr. Chenier, whomever, anybody in the MD Anderson team, as long as your doctors where you're at are willing to speak with them and basically allow them to do what needs to be done, like you did previously, like you'll be fine even if you can't physically get here. And sometimes there's people who can't physically get here for treatment, but they are able to get like exceptions with their insurance, where you may be able to come here for scans or you may be able to come here for radiation. So don't 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 believe don't think that that's the end all be all. There are a lot of workarounds, and the doctors here are very willing to help anybody who's been affected by RMC. So remain encouraged, keep us abreast with what's going on, and I'm sure if anybody here is able to help you, we will, and ask questions, and we're here for you. So don't be discouraged and remain positive.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Hopefully, Lakeisha can hear us.
Yes, I can. Can you guys
Oh,
hear me?
good. We
Yes,
can.
yes, we can.
Awesome. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Um, so I don't know how far I got that you guys were able to hear. Way that I've gotten involved is because my daughter was having some pains in her body. She was back and forth to the doctor since like November. They were telling her she had like infection or things, but she was just kind of having a bunch of pains and got to the point where she was in the hospital begging the doctors, like, I need you guys to not give me antibiotics. Please check me because I'm hurting and it's getting worse. And she was, getting to the point where she was missing time from work and things. And then they finally gave her like a CT scan or something, and it came back that she had cancer at stage 4. They began doing a bunch of biopsies and things like that, and they couldn't trace it down. They thought it was her lymph nodes. They thought it was her kidneys. They thought it was her reproductive organs. But finally, it came back that just last month that it was renal medullary carcinoma. And so she started her, of course, this is a beast and it's really aggressive. So she has now started chemotherapy. She has taken her second um, treatment. It has already metastasized to her liver, her kidneys, her lungs, to her lymph nodes. She is currently one of the biggest things we've been fighting with as of recent is, I believe they're saying it's her lymph nodes, and they're draining into the cavity outside of her lungs, and they fill up, and then she can hardly breathe. The pressure is like putting pressure on her lungs, so they just put a Plex drain in so that they can not have to keep draining this like every other few days or things. Um, and so far, this is the first week I moved here from, I lived in Charlotte, and last month I moved here to be closer to her to help her with this. And this is the first week that she's been doing good. They gave her a steroid this week, and she has been not feeling any pain, no headache. Stomach isn't hurting. She's walking, talking. She's got energy. She's eating up everything. This is the first week. They can't keep her on it for long. They thought it was a good time to switch one of her pain medicines this year, but we're just trying to do everything that we can to navigate this course.
Thank
Where
you.
are y'all located? You said
We
that you
are.
moved.
I was in Charlotte. I had just moved there last year from Michigan, and I moved back to Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay.
Um,
Um, Ron, aren't you from Michigan? I think Ron is.
Yeah, I was on mute. Yeah, from the Ann Arbor area. So I'm quite familiar with Grand Rapids on the western side of the state. And you probably don't know my daughter, Julia. At the time she was diagnosed, was living in, or is living in Indianapolis, Indiana. So I got that long commute from Ann Arbor to Indianapolis. But and of course, fortunately, we were able to negotiate, and this is for Brady. Um, the insurance companies and all of the traps that they have out there to prevent us from getting good health care. And we were able to get her um, to Dr. Masal, who is her PCP here in Houston. and we've been, I don't know, this is maybe our fourth or fifth trip here, but this current stay is going to be 3 weeks plus. So we don't know what they're going to say Friday coming when she's scheduled to be done with the radiation. But yes, answer your question, I am from Michigan.
Ron,
Lakeisha, um,
sorry, I just wanted to sort of interject a little bit. Is there any way you could share with the group, some of the hoops that you guys went through to get MD Anderson to accept your insurance? I think it would be pertinent to some of those that, you know, uh, insurance really doesn't allow them to leave their state.
Sure. Um, in this journey, it's there are periods, there are episodes where it is really frustrating, and sometimes it's not because they say no, it's because they put you on hold. They say, wait, we'll call you back, and then they don't call you back, and it's day after day after day, and conditions, and you look at the conditions, and you watch your loved one in pain, and nobody's returning your phone calls, and so you got to figure out how to apply the pressure, which usually means doing what we used to call an end run, go around the person that is not responding, get to a higher level, and so that you can get them to respond to you. The same thing occurs even here in Houston at MD Anderson when you walk into the clinic and you're in the middle of the day, because sometimes you schedule 4 or 5 appointments, and you walk into a clinic and all of a sudden the desk person says, oh, there's a flag on your case. What do you mean there's a flag in front of everybody? Um, your insurance didn't clear. That doesn't make any sense. Um, it's been clearing all day, it's been clearing all week, and how come it's not going to clear now? Well, the bill has to be paid. Well, and I'm thinking, not really thinking, well, okay, I'll just give a doc a couple $100, and that's the end of it, right? Well, how much is the bill? And they said, well, this scan is going to cost $25,000. And I'm thinking, do I have a credit card to cover that? Nah, I don't think so. Maybe if I put a couple of them together. But you get all these frustrations. But to get here, we had to. The first thing we tried was we tried to get Texas insurance, and that didn't work out so well for whatever reason. And so I'm getting pretty frustrated and angry too about this whole thing. Well, how come she's not eligible? She established residency in Texas. Okay, she's eligible for insurance, and they still denied. Okay, so at that point, because the insurance companies here wouldn't accept her, we made some phone calls to some congressional people, a couple of them, one in Indianapolis, and fortunately, I knew Andre Carson's mother because I lived there for 13 years. I worked there, got transferred there when that's how I got there, and then I was looking up the congressional people here in Houston, and I said, oh, Sheila Jackson. Wow, let me call her office. Okay. And because she was a real advocate for civil rights and so forth. And I did that. Okay. And we were calling two congressional offices at the same time. And they were calling us back at the same time. And when they didn't, we called them. And we just kept calling and calling and calling. And then in the background, there were others, in our RMC community that was doing some work to help with this process too. And so, and Richie could tell you more about that than I can. But um, as it turned out, what we ended up with was a single case agreement, okay, between the state of Indiana and Texas at MD Anderson. That whole process took 6 to 8 weeks to happen. And that was time, that was valuable time that was wasted, but it had to occur. And it was, very emotional in terms of the stress, the frustration, and the anger that came out of that, but that's how we did it.
And I think that's important to know, so that people just understand not to give up. There's always hoops and valleys to cross over, but I think persistence is what pays off. Thank you for that information, Ron.
Okay, Julia just shouted a scold at me. She said I took too long.
It's okay. Julia, settle down. Be nice.
I just had a question for Lakeisha. Are your daughter's doctors, are they talking with Dr. Masal at MD Anderson?
Yes, Dr. Masal, her doctor, no, reached out to Dr. Masal after her first chemo was taken, and he agreed that the chemo that she's taking is the best course of action, and asked that he keeps her, I believe, he keeps him updated with her um, updates and things. So she's gotten the second chemo, and now we're waiting for the lab or the test back, and we're going to share that with him to see if it's actually working or doing anything, and consult with him for where to go from there if it's not.
Are they sending him any scans that were done so that they can review it at all, or at least the reports of the scans?
When he reached out to him for, they had just completed the first scan before the second chemotherapy, and I believe that they're sharing that, but I am not sure. I will make sure though. I'll check with him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm glad that you're there with your daughter, because having an advocate throughout this process is something that's very important. And she's dealing with, just like my son, they're dealing with the cancer, they're dealing with the pain and everything of it. So to have someone there that's able to understand what's going on and be able to keep on top of appointments or medication, but preferably keeping on top of the doctors and the communication. So just continue to make sure that that's being done when it comes to the reports and when it comes to the scans. And if you can also like find out regarding your insurance, if her insurance will allow her to come here for scans or come here for something, that's something that you'll probably have to do in the background. It may not necessarily be needed because, like I said, Nico was in a whole nother country. He was in Colombia, not South Carolina. Like so, and they've collaborated, so it's not something that can't be done successfully. but it is something that, you can also have in the works in the event that that's something that's needed later on. But making sure that they are in communication and that the doctors communicate with one another, and the doctors here, Dr. Masal here, has that information, is going to help you tremendously, because with RMC things change quick, and sometimes you have to change chemotherapy, and sometimes you have to get radiation, and things have to be done, and they're very familiar with it here. So having doctors that communicate with the doctors here is very important. So just make sure that that happens. I say that again because when we were in New York, we requested that, and the doctors here were more than able to do that. But we experienced an issue because of, I say, the bureaucracy. The doctors in New York, he wanted to communicate, but I think it was the upper people who were reluctant in that, and it just doesn't cause the patient to get the care that they need. So just make sure that that's something that's happening.
Aisha, I think we lost Lakeisha, but
Oh man.
so you'll know, I've been, talking to her and then expressed to her too the importance of those scans being sent to Dr. Masal, and
Yeah.
then based on the results of the scan, will determine if indeed she need a different type treatment. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but I think we lost her for a brief moment.
God.
But
Well, Richie, you can always reach out to her
yes,
also. She can listen to it since it's being recorded to get the
yes,
information.
correct.
Also Brady, I don't know if they taken your CA 125, but that's something that we've all been having a blood test done, so that can usually tell if some things is going on too. So
What is that test called?
it's called the CA 125. It's a cancer antigen test.
Okay. Yeah, I had some type of. I have to find my paperwork to figure out exactly which test it was. But they were trying to see if I could get into some studies or if I qualified for any
Trials, like clinical
trials.
trials or stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to say that because with Gregory, it's like when he's feeling good, that number is usually down. But then when there's something that's going on, it's usually a marker that says something's going on. So that's just something
Gotcha.
that they monitor. So
And
I
it's the
don't know
CA
if they did that.
125.
Yeah, CA 125 is a cancer antigen test.
Okay.
And they're utilizing that test as basically a marker. And
Yeah.
as Aisha stated, that when that value is high, it means that the treatment is not very effective. But as it lowers, it shows that, the treatment is working. And I think it's been really instrumental in, determining REMC as far as if treatment is working or not. So great
Yeah.
things are happening.
Awesome.
Jennifer, would you like to give us an update, or you have anything to share with the group?
So sure. So Antonio right now he's in the hospital right now. We were going to he got his second line of chemo after his surgery. They did show that he had some nodes in his peritoneum and possibly omentum, and he was having problems with like a lot of fluids in his belly. And so they went on to do, like, on July 8th was his first round of the second line. And so we had that. And then this Monday, he was supposed to go back for another infusion. However, like, all of his labs were not good, and his heart rate was really high. And so his team here decided to admit him into the hospital to see what was going on. And so basically, talking to Dr. Masal and the teams here, they don't believe that the second line was working for him. So, so they ended up doing like a paracentesis to drain
a lot of fluids out of his belly. They took out like 5 liters, which is like, I think they said it was about like 11 pounds, which is crazy. And then he also had fluid in both of his lungs. So he had some fluid removed from the worst of the 2 lungs. And that was about 2 pounds, a liter and a half of fluid out of there. So they sent those off to cytology to check to see if the fluids were, cancerous. So we're waiting to hear about that. They also did an MRI of his abdomen, and so it did show that it looks like it possibly has spread to his liver, um, um, more areas of his peritoneum, and like we're waiting to see about the lungs and everything and the fluids. Um, so what they're going to do is, I believe we just signed off, and they're going to be trying a third. They're going to do it today, and it's I'm trying to think. I don't off the top of my head. Is it Penutnibab or something like that? And they're going to try that. Um, it's just a little scary because the doctors here are like, it's progressed. So, because he hasn't really had a treatment that's actually worked for him since the end of May, like right before his surgery. So, it's had almost 2 months to just, fester and do what it's doing. So we're hopeful that this treatment today is going to start working. They're going to do it like once a week. I'm just it's hard to be positive only because the doctors here are like already talking about, have people come visit, and, something about, possible next step would be like talking about hospice. But I know Dr. Massal had, um, you know, talked about other treatments, and so I want to like talk with him again. Sorry.
Don't be sorry, Jennifer. Don't be
Um,
sorry. Gregory has been on many lines of treatments. So just so people, if Lakeisha or Brady don't understand, the lines of treatments just means that they change one cocktail to another. So Gregory has been on a lot, and you know that, Gregory was on, well, the one that you were talking about, Jennifer, is panitumumab.
yeah.
Gregory has been on that also. So I don't want you to like the third line of treatment. I think Gregory might be on his fifth or sixth. So
Okay.
don't feel or believe that just because they're saying that there aren't other things that are happening, because there are other treatments.
I
And
mean,
um,
yeah,
like don't and even here, let me tell you, they have counselors here that had to speak with Gregory in reference to what does he want, if he has his affairs in order. That's something that's normal because of cancer, and that's normal for people, period, who don't have cancer, to have their affairs in order, to know what they want to occur. So don't feel that that's the reason and the only reason. But if he's on his third line of treatment, Gregory has been on probably six. So
yeah,
that just means that there's many other treatments, and even for Gregory, there are other treatments. And as long as Dr. Masal and the doctors are communicating, then that's a good thing. Like, you
yes,
want them to, and make sure that they're doing his care, that Dr. Masal is the one who's basically dictating the care. But they're on it if they've already seen that this didn't work and they're changing it. So that's
yes,
a good thing. So I want you to just look at the positive of the things that's going on. After surgery, he couldn't have had chemo anyway. So
right,
when you say it's been 2 months, he couldn't have had surgery. He couldn't have had chemo after the surgery because there has to be a downtime. And usually the downtime is at least a month. So, and since then, he's had chemo and now they're changing it. So there's a lot of positive here. And I know as a mother, you get anxious and you get worried, and I know that. I know that feeling. But you have to
yeah.
trust in God. You have to trust in God. You have to.
I
Um,
do, I do. It's just crazy because the doctors here are giving him like 3 weeks.
Yeah, no,
And
you
I'm
need
like,
to. Mm-mm.
it's like, how can you say that when, if Dr. Masal has told us about other possibilities, and,
Hmm.
I was hoping he would have called us last night, but he didn't. But I'm gonna
He
try to reach
will.
out to him again. But I
He
mean, they
will.
don't know if it's gonna work or not. So how can you say 3 weeks?
let let
It's
me
because they're
let
not.
let, let
And
me
and
add
Dr.
this.
Paul is on vacation too, by the way. He'll be back at the end of the month.
Let me add this. Back in 2019, the oncologist, now this at Walter Reed Medical Center, so one of the best hospitals in the world. They gave me 4 months to live. That was back in 2019. That was 5 years ago. Um, so and I've been through a lot of different treatments. Some that worked a little, some that didn't work at all. But Dr. Masal always um, kept pushing, kept pushing, kept pushing the envelope. And the main thing to do, I know it's difficult sometimes to stay positive and to stay encouraged, but um, that definitely has to be, at the forefront. That positivity, that encouragement to keep them going and to keep them moving forward because the the doctors, some of them never even heard of RMC before, so they really don't don't understand. They don't really understand. So just stay positive, stay in contact with Dr. Masal, and there are treatments that can work for this thing. I'm living proof. You got Brian here on this call. You got Daniel's son that all been through this journey and came out on the other end. So there's definitely some positives going on. So just try your best to stay encouraged and stay positive.
Thank you. I will.
Yeah, I feel like since Carlos like passed away in 2020, there has been like a lot of different treatments out there, a lot of combinations and a lot of things they know about. And I think just taking it step by step and looking at seeing how you're doing with it, like seeing how you're doing with the treatment and just kind of being cognizant of like when it like you're like if is it time like to like pivot and talk about like another treatment. But there are like different things and seeing like what's working. But I think like the important thing is like what I've learned is just staying positive, and just seeing what you can do with what the knowledge you have in that moment as well. Like I feel like for myself I had to focus on positive things, and my husband, he went through a lot of different uh treatments, and we were back and forth from Texas, from New York, and with different things. But like for me, I know like just focusing on the positive and focusing on the moments and what we could do in the moments. Like I think that took me a long way. Um and they might like also too is like Dr. Masal is working on different treatments, and they're coming out with new things. So like he's really working hard on like getting this cancer eradicated. And I think like the biggest thing is just staying positive and not like keeping the hope and faith.
Thank you. We will.
And there's a lot of others that aren't even on this call that have been healed by God
That's
via
right.
the doctors. So, you're seeing and you're witnessing and you're hearing several that's on this call, but there's many more. So, it's not something that can occur, and it will occur. It's just you just have to remain positive. And Have your moment. I tell everybody that have your moment. It's not for you to not feel your feelings because they're valid, they're justified, but you have to have it, and then you can't stay in it because you have to be, that strong person for Antonio, and you have to be that for him because he knows and he feels what you're feeling, and he's feeling things as well. But that's not to say that these doctors are the end all be all because they're not. So you have to have your faith in God, and there's other lines of treatments that's going to occur, and they're on it. So um, don't have your moment, feel it, but just don't stay in it. And you can always reach out to any of us, and we will definitely be there to talk to you and to listen, and so we're here for you. We're here for everyone.
Thank you.
All right, then.
I'm sorry, Andre, could I just interject just a minute?
Go ahead.
Roxanne is, she and her sister are doing some things, and I just wanted her to share that with you.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. My story is closer to Richie's story as I lost my son 5 months ago, actually yesterday. And I love being on here because I just love hearing all the positive things that are going on that weren't able to help him, but there's still positive things that are going on. And I just love to hear everyone's story. And I would definitely like to reach out to Andre because I do want to hear your story behind everything that's going on. And my sister and I, she does a lot of, she worked at a publishing company, but we do a lot of festivals and craft fairs and things like that. And so we're doing one in North Carolina. I'm from North Carolina, the Raleigh area. I heard Heather say she's in Charlotte, and I used to live in Indianapolis, so I'm familiar with that place also. But we're doing a Black Theater Festival where we're selling merchandise and things that we've crafted and made. And a couple of the things that we are doing that she brought up is that we're doing um, journals in honor of my son to raise money where 100% of the proceeds that we make will be donated to Chris Johnson Foundation and in order to help out whatever needs that are out there or what somebody may need. And I don't know, maybe one day we can figure out a way to pivot and be able to help people with maybe like Brady or somebody with transportation to get to Houston and just different things like that. But this is the first time we're trying it. We're it'll happen next week. So we'll see how, well it goes and how we can expand it, do better on it and things like that. But I did want to share that and everybody's um everybody's stories are amazing and I just send out positive energy to everyone out there that's going through this right now.
Thank
And
you.
it has a sneaker on it because my son he had and he was 28 and but he had a love of sneakers and so he loved sneakers, this, that, and all of those kind of things in addition to working. But from little up to now he still collected them, followed them and everything like that. So all of the journals actually have a sneaker on it, not anything that he has, but
Mhm.
sneakers on them. And that was just something that he had a love of. So
And the
How
graphic is just beautiful on each one
how
of the journals.
how can we get one? Do you have a website, or how can we get one?
well, this week she just had these printed and sent to us, sent to me because she's coming. She's actually in San Antonio, so she's coming to North Carolina so we can do the event. And so right now we haven't even thought that far ahead. We were just thinking next week.
Okay.
So once I meet with her and talk with her, we can talk with her, the guy, her printer, and see what he can do, how he can do it, or anything like that. And I, going to be able to share these and everything, but we just want to go and see what we can do with this and move forward from there. But like I said, it was last minute. We thought about it. She sent it to him. He sent these to us. And so we haven't even gotten that far yet, but I'll talk with her, work with Richie or anybody else on here to see how far or whatever else we can do with this, or if somebody else has, any other ideas.
Yeah,
But I
it's
will
a great
definitely
idea.
inform you.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Most definitely. Thank you for sharing that, and we definitely raising awareness about this disease is so important. So we thank you for what you do, and we're gonna continue to carry this baton forward. So no one, no other mom or anyone has to, suffer a loss of a loved one because of this disease. So we're gonna continue to carry this baton, for your son and for all of our loved ones. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you all. Thank you. This helps me so much just hearing you all and talking with you all. So thank you all also.
Hey Richie, it's Jen. Um, I got kicked out a minute ago, and so when I came back in, I can't see all. There was a lot of chat, and I was gonna try to screenshot it to look at it later, but I can't see it now. I didn't know if you could maybe screenshot it for me.
The entire chat. Clarissa, you the guru there.
Okay, let me see what I can do.
Because I think it's a way you can save these chats. Um, there's some kind of way we can. Let me see. I could screenshot them, but it's a way we can save the chat.
Save, I see save logs. Let's see if that works.
Yeah, it's just weird because they were all there, and then when I came back in, they were gone. So, I mean, it's all right if it's not possible.
Oh, it's possible. I was just trying to find the technical way to do it. Download chat messages. I'm downloading them. Can you see that? I'm just impressed with myself. Okay, I'll send them. I have downloaded the chat. So
I sent screenshots as well, Jennifer.
don't ask me how I did it, but I did it. Clarissa, aren't you proud of me?
I'm very proud of you.
It's the little things that make me happy. Oh, I'm not a tech. Can I share just briefly? And I know it's getting late, and I'm just so pleased with the number of participants today. I just want to share briefly. I went to Atlanta last week to participate in the Sickle Cell Consortium convention, and from Wednesday through Sunday, and that platform is a great platform, but it just really opened my eyes even more so to just say that we need to do something as it relates to sickle cell trait. They don't get it. Their focus was mainly on sickle cell disease. They gave us like a couple hours out of the 4 day session, 5 days of having the symposium. So it just really bring it home. And I just been brainstorming. It's how can we truly get the word out about sickle cell trait, the symptoms and complications that are associated to sickle cell trait, with sickle cell disease being one of the complications from sickle cell trait. But the focus is basically all on sickle cell disease and very little mention of the trait. And it is just mind boggling to me how we can have a symposium and not really want to or have the initiative to talk about the trait. So I just wanted to share that with you. We have to do more as far as education is concerned. So, and we will. But I'm just so happy to see Brady on the call. Lakeisha got on the call. Those are new faces, and Jennifer, as Aisha said, and Julia, Ron, Brady, just don't
Miss
lose faith.
Miss
Uh,
Ritchie, do we I think we didn't get to somebody. I think B. This is B.
it's B. I saw B on there.
B, are you
So
with?
B is B is a friend of mine who is in a position of oftentimes caretaker advice and
Okay.
all kinds of stuff like that. And so just having her on the call for information and encouragement has been helpful for her as we.
Okay.
Okay. Good. We all definitely need support during this journey. So thank you for joining us, B. If you have anything to share with us, feel free. Or any questions on Brady's behalf, definitely feel free. It's an open forum here.
Yeah, she just texted me. I think it's going to be a little bit. This being her first meeting and really first time she's hearing the majority of all this um, in full color at least. Uh, it's a little overwhelming for her, I think, at the moment. But I know I really appreciate her being on there. So her name is Brooke. Thank you, Brooke. I appreciate you.
We
Welcome,
all
Brooke.
do. Yeah, welcome, Brooke. And we have another call on Tuesday. Y'all gonna give the date, but you can pop in with that too. It's
It's
a good
Tuesday.
second Tuesday
And I
in
also
August.
want, and I wanted to thank Richie when she said she went to the thing in Atlanta because it hits me on both ends. Khalid ended up with RMC, and my daughter actually has full blown sickle cell. So I deal with, like both of those, but she's doing really well. She's on her own out in California, so she's doing really well with that. But like I said, I never thought that the trait. I never treated him the way I treated her because she had the disease, and the trait actually is just as they're the same. They're the same. So, like I said, getting that information out there is very important. But going to these types of conferences and things that deal with both of them, it kind of hit me on both ends there. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. And our next RMC support meeting is August 13th. We look forward to having everyone on. I think it's been a great call. We appreciate you
Definitely.
this Saturday. And Andre, as always, you've done a great job moderating. And
Thank
would you like to close us out?
Yes. Thanks for everybody that joined on the call. Just really appreciate everyone sharing their shared experiences. I know a lot of us are at different parts of this journey. So it's good to have, different aspects of where we are at. So thank you for sharing. I know that can be difficult sometimes, but thank you so much. Definitely, you never know who you help. Your words and your experience stuff like that. So as always, thank you for sharing. Hope to see you all uh, at the next meeting. And as always, definitely in our prayers, stay positive, stay encouraged, even in the midst of dark times. You know what I'm saying? God will be right there walking with us and keeping us. So uh, stay positive. Until next time, love you guys.
And in August, we will see. We'll try to get together. Those that are here in Houston in August, we'll make sure we get together.
All right.
All right. I'm going to just stop the recording.